organizing the videos of this better. All right, so this week's assignment, and this is actually going to be really similar to some of the stuff that you guys did this week, but it's basically doing something with a race. So you should have, 2 to 3 sort of geometric little characters that go on some kind of race through some kind of environment, and it should be obvious pretty much at all points, like where the characters are, like what they're doing, who's in the lead, or like the goal of what they're racing towards should be obvious, and who, quote unquote, wins this race should also be obvious. You're welcome to throw in any kind of twist or anything like that as you're doing things. But again, the sort of motivation of like why people are going where they're going, and who wins or loses should be clear. Apart from that, requirements, this one should be 15 to 20 seconds long. Again, one character must win the race, should be obvious what they're doing. And then this is not actually like a hard requirement, but like consider adding some kind of, plot twist or unexpected thing that causes, the lead character something to fall back. Try to make it as interesting and suspenseful as you can for the viewers. Any questions on the basic premise of that assignment? Cool. And then also, so for this assignment, again, just the generic, make nice environments and lighting. Also focus on creating not only realistic motion in terms of if something jumps, does it feel like it has a decent weight to it, but really try to make the characters feel alive. Again, consider squash and stretch. Is there anything that you can do if you're doing a little cube puppy or something to make it more charming, that kind of thing. And then build up, again, kind of playing on the 12 principles of animation that we talked about, I think, last week. Have build up to actions before they happen and also reactions to things. If something falls down from the ground and crushes another model, theoretically, the thing crushing it would have some kind of reaction to landing on the uneven surface of whatever character it's just squished. And again, recommended that you research things that you're considering animating if you're not familiar with them. And for this assignment, I don't care if you move the camera or not. Completely up to you. If you feel like it helps you tell your story, then go for it. If it's, something small, like pencil erasers going across the desk, you might be able to get away with not doing that. And this is left over from the previous assignment that I did not get rid of. All right, any questions on that? All right, and this is pretty much the exact same point breakdown as everything else up to this point has been so far. For the animation in this one, I can't type. I really can't type and talk at the same time. So for this one, I'm looking for, do the characters have life and personality? And then just kind of the requirements, is it obvious who's winning the race and what they're racing towards, that kind of thing. But again, do try to get some life into the characters if you can. Make the people care about, why do people care about watching them? Are they cute somehow, or is there something surprising happening, that kind of thing. What to submit? A video like you guys have been doing for a while for the last few assignments. And then also, again, just throw in your whatever reference footage you used, even if that's, you can't find reference of an eraser jumping across a desk, throw in some pictures of textures of erasers, that kind of thing that helped inform your environment or your models or your texturing, that kind of thing. That's pretty much this assignment. Are there any questions about that? I think I do have some previous student examples. All right. Real quick, bust in and find those. Oh, yeah. Cool. I have one tiny example. Which I actually haven't watched this in a while. Oh wait, I guess I could actually, yes, beautiful. I'm very much a fan of the toothpaste line at the beginning. That's quite funny. And I'm actually pretty sure that it looks like that was literally done just keying visibility and scale on that blob of toothpaste. so that the scale sort of synced up with where that tube was moving, which is honestly pretty clever until the end where it kind of gets off a little bit. But yeah, so I mean, in this one you can see they did use camera movement. The sort of unexpected twist at the end is, I guess, like that winner falls into the toilet, which is vile. And then they've done sort of a nice added extra touch of adding these same just like duplicated models, but just like having them dancing around in the background being like, haha, do interesting things like race, like, I don't know, what am I saying? Spectators rooting for the race people. But yeah, so something like this is what I'm looking for. You can get more or less creative with this as you want. But this is sort of like a good baseline of, it's obvious what they're doing. In this case, they're just having a standard race. You saw them draw that little toothpaste line. And then, again, like that little toilet twist at the end was kind of cool. And also in this case, like for life of the characters, I think the way that these guys move is actually really charming. I like that the lipstick just sort of rolls, and then the flips that the little razor and the toothbrush are doing are also quite cute. But yeah, that's pretty much the race assignment. Anyone have any questions on that? All right, let me get rid of this and also this. The other thing that's due for your final is collecting reference. So this is going to be mostly for environmental and lighting reference, as well as like some reference for the objects. So this is, again, sort of like modeling aids, style aids for what you're looking for previously. So for your environment, you are going to look for maybe a minimum of 5 images, just sort of things that other environments that are similar to yours that you like certain aspects about. Sort of like for a kitchen, again, just like help you get an idea of how kitchens are usually populated, that kind of thing. For your individual objects, so these are going to be the objects representing the characters in your scene. Grab reference of 2 or more angles for each object that you have to recreate. And if there's, again, like slight variations between your objects, like forks with different designs on the handle, feel free to not include 30 images of slightly different forks. But for this, so ideally, if you can find orthographics, like that would be awesome. But I'm looking for like 2+ angles of the same or like super crazy similar objects, if that makes sense. So if you're doing like a stand mixer or something like that, make sure that it's 2 pictures of the same model of mixer and not like 2 completely different brands that look nothing alike, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? All right. So, I mean, the idea behind this is like not just to sort of collect stuff to fill an assignment requirement, but like they'll actually be helpful for you to actually model things. So that was the thought process behind that. And then apart from that, just like, again, for lighting, at least 5 images with specific elements of the lighting that you like. And for these, I don't really care if it's, like if you're doing a kitchen and there's, you know, some other room that's lit in a way you find really pleasing, this can totally be like not the environment that you're doing. It's like just looking at the lighting for those images. That's pretty much that, and I'm literally just grading you on like, have you done the things? Like, have you found good reference? And just zip me a file with all the images. If you could just label everything so that it's like environment 1, environment 2, environment 3, lighting 1, lighting 2, lighting 3, etc. Just like label things so it's easily ascertainable what I'm actually looking at for that. That's pretty much that. Any questions on that? All right, those are the assignments for this week. And then at some point after this, I think it'll start getting into like actually modeling the, what am I saying? Once it gets time to actually like model some of the characters for the final, we stop having weekly assignments. Last weekly assignment is next week, by the way. There's one more after this, the race. We'll start looking more at the finals in class. You guys can get feedback from each other about that, especially for the animation, like animatics, stuff like that. All right, any questions on assignments? Anything else before we go into a short break? All right, in that case, take like a 4-minute break and then wander back.